Alright, here's one for you a little bit. See the suction line temperature? It's hotter than the liquid line temperature. This is the temperature of supposedly the liquid coming out of the condenser, 79 degrees. This is supposed to be the temperature of the evaporator coming back from cooling the passenger, 91 degrees. That doesn't sound so good. So, let's see what we find here. I know it's low. We knew that because that was their complaint. I did finally find a visual because it's so damn bright out here, and I did not catch it at first. I thought it was pinky black. But that bracket right down there where my fingertip nail is just above right there, that's a bracket. And the bracket is almost perfectly coated, the bracket alone, with refrigerant oil, but it has a dust buildup that turned black. I maybe thought that was black paint down there. But turns out it's an oil stain. Now what happens on some of these, and I've seen it before on some of these Mercedes, that bracket is riveted by two rivets on that bracket going through the core, going through the microchannel. And where that bracket rubs against the face surface of the microchannel, slowly wears through. I couldn't pick up anything with the refrigerant leak detector at this moment, but that's where it's leaking at. And if you follow it, touches the line a little bit, and a little bit of the oil travels the line, and that line comes up right to this nut right here. And you can't see from here, but looking down inside there, you can see where the oil follows the line up halfway and then starts drying out before connecting to the receiver dryer. So there's our leak point. That's a visual, and that's a visual that you can see that you cannot pick up with the leak detector. And you have a temperature coming out of the evaporator, hotter than interior temperature, I believe. Let's look at the interior temperature. So here, connect. So here's our pressures. Let's go interior temperature. So I have both sensors inside the car. There's no drop out the dash and going into the dash, into the evaporator, out of the evaporator, almost equal. So we have almost no cooling effect going inside the car. That's how low we are. And we have an air temperature going across the evaporator at 77, but it's picking up extra heat as it comes through the evaporator, and the metal line comes out here, it picks up heat out here, it picks up heat here, and by the time I measure it there, it's 90 degrees. And that's what we see right there, 92 degrees, because it's so low on refrigerant. And of course, it says the superheat's 59 degrees. I think I'll add some refrigerant just to show you guys how adding a refrigerant affects your superheat and your subcooling, because in automotive they don't talk about this, but it's at least good to know, even though it's hard to next to impossible on any of the new cars to actually use, except under the most ideal conditions, because of variable displacement compressors, variable displacement fans, constantly changing, ramping up and down, trying to configure to the amount of refrigerant in the system, changing your numbers to what they really are not. Alright, so let's get back to video number 3, and I'll throw some refrigerant on it and we'll watch those numbers move as I add refrigerant.